Good evening, and thank you again for clicking on my channel. So I just finished watching Mortal Kombat 2. Yes, I'm a little behind on certain movies. So sorry. Um, but yeah, I had intentions on watching it early, and um, the theater that I was going to, for whatever reason, they didn't give no explanation on why, but they canceled, and so I didn't get to go watch it. And I thought about going the next day and didn't do it, and then here we are, delayed more time. But whatever, I'm here. I have a review for you, so let's just dive right on into it. So I'm sure most of you have probably already seen this movie, but I'm gonna give my own personal thoughts, comments, and yeah, all of that jazz. So um, this pretty much picks up where the last one leaves off. Um, we already knew, like, because of the last one, we were going to get Johnny Cage. So, in my personal opinion, and maybe a lot of us thought this was going to be a Johnny Cage kind of eccentric film, like it was going to be more focused on him. But comes to show, it was Kitana that was um, it was more centered on her. Who knew, right? Who knew? So, yeah. So it states the fan favorite champions, now joined by Johnny Cage himself, are pitted against one another in the ultimate battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn that threatens the very existence of the uh, Earth realm and its defenders. Um, so yes, you have Katana, however you pronounce her name. I always thought it was Katana, um, but I learned it wasn't. But whatever. Johnny Cage, who is played by Carl Urban, Shao Kahn, Jade, Sonya Blade, Jax, Liu Kang, Kano, Lord Raiden, uh, Shang Tsung, um, Cole Young, and there were some people who were brought back, obviously, which was Kano got brought back. Um, was it Kung? Yeah, Kung Leo. Yeah. Um. So yeah, so it starts out where Keitana's father was um fighting Shao Kahn, obviously loses, and then it comes to present time where she is under him, like he is basically her father, and he treats her as it's his daughter, and then Jade is obviously on their side as well. And they try to get Johnny Cage to join in, and he thinks it's all a joke. And then sees for himself when they well, somebody brings him in, and he is fighting. Yeah, I think it was Kitana or Kitana, and and then yeah, finds out that everything is real, and um, they're doing what they can to fight and take out Shao Kahn. Um, so there were some people, YouTubers. This is before I even watched it, that they were saying this was an abomination of a film. Like this was probably one of the worst Mortal Kombat's, aside from Annihilation, that has ever existed. Talking about how the acting was bad. They didn't realize it was going to be a Katana centric film, although they said that she did good. They're like Johnny Cage, but and I'm just going off what other people said. Like they didn't like Sonya Blade, the person who played her. Um, but I guess everybody else, I'm assuming, was okay in their opinion. But let's go before I give my review, I mean, my rating. Let's look at some of these other people's, because sometimes I run out of time, and then I'll go into more of my thoughts. So this first one is a 6 out of 10. Embrace the chaos, the violence, and the fun. Finally understanding what the franchise was meant to be. Mortal Kombat 2 got the message after the first film that took everything too seriously. The sequel simply embraces chaos, violence, and fun exactly as it should have been from the start. Here, everything is more over the top, louder, and above all, more true to its own premise. The story, question mark, it takes a backseat without even trying to hide it. And interestingly, that doesn't really get in the way because the movie knows the audience and is there for the fights, the characters, and the spectacle. And that's where Carl Urban comes in, bringing the charisma and the humor that was missing with a Johnny Cage who steals the show every time he appears. And the end is it's a film that better understands what it wants to be, embracing the over the top and the fun to finally deliver something closer to the spirit of the franchise. Um, uh, I'm trying to think. Do I agree with that? Um, I, I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe the first one was a little too serious, but I actually enjoyed it. And I know they're talking about the 20, what was it, 2021, 2022? I forgot when that movie came out. Um, but I still enjoyed it. And the fact that they spent the money on the visuals to make it an R-rated film versus like a PG-13 film, I appreciate that. Let's see. Oh my God, this was very lengthy. This is a 6 out of 10. The 1995 version is still superior. Let me preface this review by saying the first 90s film adaptation of Mortal Kombat is still, in my opinion, the supreme version. So, how does Mortal Kombat 2 in 2025 hold up? Um, my honest review is that it's got some fun parts to it, but it's full of flaws. It's not a bad film, but it's not the classic I hoped for either. Note: I'm going to compare this to the original 1995 version, not the one that came out a few years back. The reason being that 1995 version is still the superior one, and future installments should be critiqued against the 95 film adaptation. One of the things I appreciated most about the 95 adaptation is that I knew what it was. The fight scenes were entertaining, the characters memorable, and the dialogue quotable. And Mortal Kombat 2, one of the things I didn't like was how they changed the primary characters. In the 95 version, it was Liu Kang, and here is a combo of Kitana and Johnny Cage. One of the subjects of Johnny Cage, I think Carl Urban is a great actor, but I don't think Johnny Cage was fully brought to the screen here. Cage has a serious ego and is completely over the top. I don't think Urban's portrayal fully brought this to the screen. The Katana storyline was okay, I guess, but was it truly needed to be center of the film? I would say no. Other thing I don't like is some of the actors in Mortal Kombat 2 didn't fully embody their characters, and the acting was weak. In the 95 version, you could really believe the actors as the characters. For example, in Mortal Kombat 2, Sh- Shang Tsung's character was weak, as was Sindel's. It felt like the role was too much for them. Um, Also, kind of felt wasted here. Finally, there's plenty of blood and gore, but you really kind of hope that they bring in more fatality type stuff, which is a staple of Mortal Kombat. I felt this was toned down and is some cases forgotten, and it's still kind of missing in these films. You gotta have Mortal Kombat. Oh, you can't have Mortal Kombat without fatalities. I totally agree with that. It's fun to see Mortal Kombat back to the screen in spite of the film's version's faults. Going forward in future entries, I would like to see them get back to what Mortal Kombat so much fun. Let's see these actors really embody their characters like the 95 version. I want to see Johnny Cage have a bigger ego and be more over the top. Let's see some fatalities, friendships, animalities, etc. The Mortal Kombat that the Mortal Kombat is known for. Mortal Kombat 2 feels like a watered down appetizer rather than the main course it should be. If you're a hardcore fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise, you'll probably be disappointed. If you're a casual film goer or you don't know much about Mortal Kombat, you'll probably enjoy it. It's a film I would say is best suited for wait for legal streaming rather than going to see it in theaters. Um, that was very lengthy. But I partially agree with that. I mean, if I never seen 95 version, I would say this was a pretty cool film. But because that I did see 1995, I kind of agree. Especially, look, I grew up playing Mortal Kombat, especially when it was introduced on what was it SNES, I think. And you're seeing all the fatalities happen right before you. And even like in the 95, you couldn't really be so graphic, but it did what it could at the time, and I appreciated it. Now that you can have all the blood and gore, and you're spending that much money on it, where was it? They didn't have any like fatality or finish him. I think I heard that line once in this movie, so I get it. I pretty much agree with that. And let's see what this one has to say. 8 out of 10, exactly what you want. If you're a fan of this genre, I'm sorry. I can't read. If you're a fan of the games, when this is exactly what you want, don't listen to any of the negative reviews or low metascore. Obviously, people who can't have fun, it's a perfectly good and entertaining movie that we all wanted and we got. Switch your brain off and enjoy Mortal Kombat in all of its glory. Also, how good is Carl Urban? From Lord of the Rings to Dread to Boys and now to Mortal Kombat, he's just the best. Um, I, am gonna read one more and then I'm gonna give my personal opinion. Maybe two more. We'll see. So this one gives it a 6. 6 out of 10. Embrace the chaos. Did I already read this one? Deliver Spirit of Franchise. Yes, I already read that one. All right, so maybe I'll just read one more. Um, this one gives a 7 out of 10. A fun ride, but still missing the mark. Let me start by saying I genuinely enjoyed this film. The visuals are stunning, the battle stage designs feel remarkably faithful to the games, and the fight choreography has noticeably improved. More signature moves are making their way onto the screen, which is a huge win for longtime fans. The fights between the characters are intense, kinetic, and fun to watch. That said, the Mortal Kombat film series has developed a habit. I can't ignore lazy storytelling shortcuts. In the first film, they invented a dragon tattoo scar that marked chosen fighters as Earthrealm's champions, something that never existed in the game's lore. In the sequel, um, they doubled down on the approach with a glowing light uh, me- mechanic that identifies the next fighter, and then without any portal, any transition, any logic, just teleports them directly in front of their opponent. It's jarring every single time, and it feels like the writers are more interested in getting to the next fight scene than building a world that actually makes sense. So I agree with that. Absolutely. My biggest disappointment, Sindel, the queen of Edina, or is it Edina? I forgot how they, excuse me, whatever. Is one of the most visually iconic characters in the entire franchise. Famous for uh, her hair that extends and whips um, enemies with brutal precision. It's the kind of move that practically begs to be put in the film. And yet, what do we get? Just scream, scream, and scream. Oh yes, that one. I forgot that was her. I think I forgot because she didn't do the flare, the hair flip. That's it. We already saw that in the trailer, though. The hair abilities are defining feature that makes her are completely absent. It's a massive waste of one of the most unique fighters in the roster and left me genuinely frustrated. Mortal Kombat 2 is entertaining enough, and the fans of the games will find plenty of to cheer about. But until this franchise commits to building a story that respects its own mythology, instead of cutting corners, it will always feel like it's leaving something on the table. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. I forgot, like I said, I forgot about um, her with the hair. All right, do we have one more, or is that it? All right, let's. Oh, all right. Since this is the last one, this will be the last one. 8 out of 10. It's showtime. The release of Mortal Kombat 2021, directed by Simon McQuoid, was an event in my house, dropped right in the middle of the pandemic. That's right, 2021, yes, I thought it was. Was little to know where to go. It was something to actually look forward to at the time. When the whole world felt stuck in limbo, despite some of the flaws I have with the film, it's still visually impressive with the fight choreography and nostalgic atmosphere with worth admiring. The movie went to become a success for HBO, so a sequel was inevitable. Bigger budget, better salaries, more blood, more fatalities. Part 2, Carl Urban playing Johnny Cage. There are a lot of video game films coming out this year, but this is the only one Mortal Kombat. It's the exact definition of giving the people what they asked for. Much of criticism of the first film centered on the introduction to the new characters instead of focusing on ones that we already know, as well as the lack of real tournament. Well, in the newest addition to the franchise, no time wasted. We know the game, we know the stakes. Earth is down a champion, so Johnny Cage has entered the chat whether he wants to or not. Instead of being the cocky, arrogant movie star that we all know and love from these games, Carl Urban portrays the Mortal Kombat legend as humble and very self aware, but naturally the humor just flows off him. What fans will be, what fans will appreciate is how much this truly feels like experiencing the game's cheaper. It's not what that says. The game's chapter based story mode on the big screen. From beginning to end, the fights are bloody and vicious. We don't need all the details. Let's just get to the finish him. The story moves at an aggressively fast pace, but the world is at stake, so that's completely understandable. Let's just call it a hurry up offense. Um, but nothing quite motivates a person like revenge. Not only is this Johnny's big debut, but Katana, another fan favorite, also shines going through her own character arc in the midst of all the brutality. She brings a lot of precision and focus to her fighting style, proving why she's one of the most played characters and the and that anything can be used as a weapon in the fight to the death. The performances are strong from all the champions on both sides when they're not trying to unalive their opposition to save our realm. You can try, fall, get up, and try again, but Kano wins. Aussie actor Josh Lawson um, is brought back from the dead and is as foul mouthed and rude as ever, and I'm here for it. The combination of Johnny Cage and Kano sharing the screen provides a welcome break from the film's severe consequences, delivering laughs that erupt throughout the theater. Whether you're new to the world of Mortal Kombat or a die-hard fan, this is a cinematic experience that delivers and deserves to be seen in IMAX. They didn't pull any punches here. You're welcome for that new for with new faces, and you say goodbye to some you've grown fond of in most gory way possible. If I'm being honest, no fight scene impressed me more than the blood icicle moment from the Scorpion and Sub Zero in the first film. Was peak Mortal Kombat, however, nostalgia is the greatest form of mind control, and I'm happy to fall victim to it. I can practically taste the junk food and soft drinks from my past onto this journey. Okay, so that's all of that. Um, so yeah, I kind of agree with most of them. I think I'm gonna go with a 7 out of 10. It it wasn't really my favorite. I'm just being honest with you. Like the one was stating that I forgot which one it was already. Stating that there was no fatalities. There was one like finish him line. Um, Other than that, like there were some cool scenes. There were some cool death scenes. Um, the elements, everything looked pretty cool. Overall, not a bad film. But is this something memorable? Mm, I'm probably gonna say no. Like there were some moments where I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. But overall, I'm like, it didn't really move me, you know. And I think I might have to agree, even though he used 95 a lot in his review, but 95 is a memorable one, and I do appreciate that. And even for the guy who played Luke Cage in that film, he was very cocky, over the top, and that's what you would expect from a Hollywood actor. And some of that stuff is just like that's what you remember if you watch the '95 version. But overall, I mean, like I said, not bad. 7 out of 10. I think that's a decent rating. Um, and now in a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't waste any money to go see it in theaters. So here we are. But anyway, if you had watched this film, let me know. Comment down below. If you haven't, do you plan on going to see it? Also, let me know. And then please subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.